Urban Outfitters, which is the most annoying mix of absolutely beautiful and extremely expensive. I ended up kind of spending kind of all of the money I had been saving for birthday presents, which is extremely selfish of me. This is kind of ruining this. So I decided that homemade presents was the way to go. A nice way to kind of personalise your gifts, and I'm really into like crafty things, and so that's what I decided to do. I decided to make one of my friends, who is a Whovian like me, Riversong's TARDIS journal, like this one here. Because I thought it would be a cool present. I tried it out, I filmed it, and now I'm going to show it to you. So to start off, I had to try and make the paper look old like Riversong's journal. So I got some instant coffee and just poured it in and swirled it around, and then dipped the paper into the sink. Unfortunately, when I took it out, nothing really had happened. So I added some more coffee to make it stronger, and then I dipped the paper in again, and nothing happened again. My next strategy was to put some paper into a baking tray and pour tea all over it. I turned it over and kind of squelched it around a bit, and then I took it out and it looked kind of brown and old, which is exactly what I was looking for, so yeah. Tea always wins. Woo! After that I did the same thing with 39 other sheets of paper because I needed 40 to make my notebook. Dedication. When I took the paper out, I kind of shook it around a bit to try and drain off all the excess tea, and then I placed it onto a warm surface for it to dry. When all the pieces of paper had finished drying, I collected them all into one big pile ready to start making the notebook. Please excuse my odd socks. First I got my pile of old paper, and then I began folding each individual one to ensure that the fold was sharp and defined. When I was done, I sorted my folded paper into groups of 4 ready for binding. And then I got kind of excited because it was already starting to look a bit like a notebook. Yes! I then measured marks on each of the groups of 4 about 1 inch apart. I did this so I knew where to poke the holes into each of them, which is the next step. Spoiler alert! I then used a ruler to make lines down all of them to mark the whole lot of them. That made no sense. Whatever. Anyway, it ended up looking like this, which is what I wanted. Yes. Then using a pin, I poked holes down the marks I'd made. I did the same thing with all of them. The next step was sewing, which proved to be an extremely long and complicated process that I am not going to attempt to explain to you, but I will link down below the tutorial I used to sew all the pages together and make it into an actual notebook. Yay! Here is me finishing the very last stitch of the sewing. You go, girl! Next I had to add the PVA glue, and it literally looked like cottage cheese. It was disgusting. What is that? So I went out and got a new one. Thankfully this one worked much better and PVA glue-like. Using some books to keep it squished down, I added 2 coats of PVA glue to the spine to strengthen it. Next I decided to use this really awesome world map paper to use as the outer layers of the text block. I drew around a piece of A4 paper to get it to the right size, and then I cut it out and folded it in half and then stuck it on. I trimmed some of the excess off the edges, and then I did the same to the other side. The next step was to get some plain paper and then stick it onto the outer layers and the spine to kind of bind it all together and make it stronger, and yeah. After that I had to start doing all the measurements to make the hard cover, and basically this just meant me sitting really close to my cardboard and looking very serious. And then I had to cut it out, which involved a very sharp scalpel blade and a lot of patience. And finally I was able to pull it out and then cut it up some more. Ah, great. Finally all the pieces were cut out, and we can move on to the next step at last. I stuck down all 3 pieces onto a piece of A3 paper. I then folded all the pieces of paper around the cover to make it into a cover. Also, I can't talk, but I guess that is a separate matter. And that made this beautiful cover, which I am now going to paint blue. Just you watch me painting it blue. I can't get off the lid, but I will paint it blue. When I finished painting it blue, I drew the TARDIS design onto some card. Footage seems to have disappeared for this, so sorry. Next was the very best bit, which was sticking the cover onto the text block, and it actually looked like a real notebook, which was extremely exciting. Then I cut out all the bits and stuck them onto the cover to make the TARDIS design. And the final step was to paint it with lots of different colours to kind of make it look old, so I went over it with black and white and blue, and then it was done! And this was the finished product! This is what it ended up looking like. I'm going to do a little tour of it now. Using really hard cardboard that took ages to cut actually paid off, because now the covers are really kind of hard and feels firm and sturdy. There's lots of little nice design there going on. Very nice, very nice. And you open it up and it's got this mat, and then the same thing on the back. The reason I didn't just go for brown paper and I ended up doing all the dipping and the tea thing is because it made it kind of look really scruffy from the side, which is what her actual one looks like from the side, upside, that side. This kind of method of binding makes it really easy to open flat, Can you see that? It took a while to make, but I really enjoyed it, and I hope that Catherine likes it. Catherine, this is for you. Here you go. Happy birthday! I hope you enjoyed this kind of different style of video, and if you did, then give it a thumbs up so that I know to make more of them. Also, Andy Murray went out of the tennis today, which I'm really upset about. I'm really close to reaching 1,800 subscribers. It's kind of exciting because 1,800 is like close to 2,000, and 2,000 is like a big number, and so is 1,800. Thank you so much to everyone who subscribed. I don't appreciate it at all. I just realised I haven't introduced you to my Polaroid yet. She's called Patricia. So exciting. Oh, I just took a photo of nothing. That's such a waste. This is a really flattering angle. Look at me in my little end screen box. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I shall see you guys next time. I don't know what kind of yeah. Yeah. So I decided to can't talk. I'm ill. Flip, flip. That's a sassy. Oh, I just had a cramp in my foot. I'm not mad, apart from maybe sometimes.